Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face when you're sleeping.
The concept of time travel has fascinated scientists for decades. Can we someday in the future manage to solve the mysteries of the time-space continuum and be able to travel back in time? It certainly seems harder than it sounds. Heck, you have a better chance of winning the lottery. But there are a few places on this earth that seem to be stuck in a certain fraction of human history tied to days long past. Indeed, these 5 places appear frozen in time, offering a unique look through different decades and civilizations, with no modern equipment required. So, without further ado, let's take a look at 5 unique places that seem stuck in the past. Number 5. Sultan, Riviera, California. What happens when a place was poised to have so much potential but ends up flopping? This is exactly the case with this place sequestered in the American West. Once a booming tourist attraction, the Sultan Riviera in California now looks like a post-apocalyptic beach. It lies on the shore of a lake amazingly created by accident, named the Sultan Sea, which was formed when a flood poured into the Colorado River and breached its levees in 1905. The place was once an uninhabitable desert before the lake existed. Many people thought that the floodwater would dry out, but decades went by and people did not notice signs of evaporation. Developers soon considered the place as a business opportunity and built a resort upon it, advertised it as the Miracle in the Desert. It has been named as the Salton Sea and became the French Riviera of California. In the 1950s to 1960s, tourists flocked to the resort from all over the country. Many chose the place to build their homes. However, the ecosystem of this lake began to collapse by the late 1970s as the water became increasingly saltier, depleted in oxygen, and polluted with pesticides. Multitudes of fishes began to die and float on the surface of the lake. Its white sandy beaches were soon covered in fish bones, and the place became overpowered with the stench. Residents and tourists quickly got out of town, abandoning the place and leaving it to become a toxic wasteland. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it, it really works. Number 4. Hiroshima Island, Japan. As modern technology overtakes traditional, some towns will die a natural death because their mineral resources are no longer viable. Such sources under this type of threat include coal and, to some extent, oil in the next couple of years. Located 9 miles off the coast of Japan, the Hiroshima Island, also known as Gunkanjima or the Battleship Island, was a coal mining town from 1887 to 1974. Being an aid before in the industrialization of Japan, it is now an abandoned ghost town surrounded by tall concrete seawalls. It is known as the inspiration for the villain's home in the 2012 James Bond film Skyfall. Hiroshima Island was once one of the most densely populated places in the entire world. Back then, the 16-acre industrial land was home to more than 5,000 miners. Eventually, living conditions in the area declined. Plus, the demand for coal eventually ran out as it was being replaced by petroleum in the 1960s. By 1974, the mining business was eventually shut down, and workers deserted the once populated place. The island was left alone with its cement buildings and equipment deteriorating. People have planned to make the island as a rubbish dump, but some advocates prevented it from happening. Because it was preserved, it became one of Nagasaki's major tourist attractions. Number 3. Kitsaut Canada. Sometimes ambitious projects can go down the drain, regardless of how much potential they had when they were first being constructed. Despite the loss of thousands, perhaps even millions of dollars in construction, companies have no other choice than to abandon their ambitious projects. The town of Kitsaut can be found in the province of British Columbia, Canada. It has more than 100 homes, 200 apartments, a bank, a shopping mall, a movie theater, a sports center, and a hospital. But the thing is, no one lives here. The town was formed in 1979 when Amax Canada claimed the 350-acre land to extract molybdenum for steel production. It was a 4-hour drive away from the nearest town. So the mining company spent $50 million to build the town for its 1,200 miners and their families. Unfortunately, the price of molybdenum easily plummeted in 1982 and the mine was closed down. Everybody packed up and left. However, in 2004, an entrepreneur bought the place for $7 million, hoping to resurrect the town from its slumber. It was deserted because there was no economic activity left, and the businessman planned to bring a source of income to the site, a liquefied natural gas terminal. But only time will tell if the plan was to be successful. And now we've come to the best pick of the day. Boy, does this place look like it's secluded from the modern world completely. And the fact that it's an island doesn't make it easier on the eyes. What would you do if you're stranded here? You'd probably go insane, right? I for sure would. Number 2, Two Guns, Arizona. With such a fancy, wild country name like Two Guns, you'd expect this place to be an instant hit, right? Not at all. This is one of the few places where everything was right, except for the potentiality of becoming a viable American town. And as the wise men say, another one bites the dust. Two Guns was another old tourist attraction. When white settlers began to live in the area, they found out that it was an ideal place to cross Canyon Diablo. It was originally called Canyon Lodge, which was a trading post owned by Earl and Louise Cundiff. An entrepreneur, Harry Two Gun Miller, became interested in the town and convinced the Cundiffs to lease him the site for 10 years and rename it. Later on, when the nearby National Trail Highway was renamed Route 66, the town of Two Guns was created to serve travelers. Miller transformed the town into a full-blown tourist spot, complete with attractions like zoos. The town began to decline when it became a victim to a major robbery, creating an intense conflict between Miller and the Cundiffs. During a heated argument, Miller shot Earl Cundiff dead. He was acquitted from the killing, but he was attacked by lions and monsters shortly thereafter. Eventually, Miller left the town after losing in a court battle with Louise Cundiff. The Cundiffs never enjoyed the success of Two Guns, however. Route 66 was rerouted to the opposite canyon and was bypassed by the Interstate 40. Number 1, Bodie, California. Man, the 1800s were a blast, right? Everything about the Wild Wild West just spelled adventure with a capital A. Horses, cattle rustling, train robbing, buck wilding, you name it. Indeed, there were towns that thrived in the Wild Wild West because of the culture at the time. Visiting Bodie is a fantastic way to see the real-life setting of the California Gold Rush. It's a historic gold mining town located northeast of Yosemite National Park. In 1859, 2 prospectors discovered gold in Bodie Hills. It started with around 20 miners and quickly mushroomed into life. 20 years after, the place became home to an estimated 10,000 people and more than 2,000 buildings. The town bustled with houses, schools, churches, as well as entertainment outlets like brothels, gambling halls, and opium dens. It was a daily occurrence for Bodie's miners to finish work in the mills for the day and immediately head for the bars and the red light district to spend their earnings. An inexplicably bad mixture of money, gold, and alcohol constantly running rampant throughout the town. It also gained a fearsome reputation as one of the wildest, most lawless, and toughest mining camps, as killings just became an everyday happening. By 1881, the mines began to decline, and the population started to shrink and shrink. Fires also attacked the town. one happening in 1892 and another in 1932, reducing the remains to just 10% of the original. Bodie is now coined as a village frozen in time in a state of arrested decay. With that being said, we've come to the end of this video. Do you happen to know of any other places or abandoned towns that have become relics stuck in the past? Let us know in the comments section down below. And would you like more videos that will surely still exist until the very end of time? Click on any of the amazing videos that you see on the screen. And as always, thank you all so very much for watching.